In Kharkiv last night, peace seemed a long way off. 2 children were among those killed by a Russian drone strike on this apartment block. President Zelenskyy called it a cynical attack designed to humiliate diplomatic efforts. Those diplomatic efforts will see European leaders, including Keir Starmer, join the Ukrainian president in Washington later. It is a show of solidarity they hope will avoid a repeat of Zelenskyy's last White House visit.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
But overnight, President Trump said peace was now up to Ukraine. President Zelenskyy can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight, said President Trump in a post on Truth Social, before later ruling out NATO membership for Ukraine. President Putin was given the warmest of welcomes and a military flyover when he arrived in Alaska on Friday for peace talks. But it appears the Russian leader may now accept European and US security guarantees in exchange for some Ukrainian land. Russia has long wanted full control of these 5 regions in eastern Ukraine. But if Zelenskyy were to give up 2 of the regions making up the Donbass, President Putin has reportedly said he'd be ready to end the war. Is that sort of deal acceptable, do you think, for Ukraine, even if it means them having to give up some land?
Whether it's an Article 5 type arrangement or some other way of ensuring that a very clear message is sent to Moscow that this agreement must be respected, otherwise there will be very serious consequences for Russia. That's the outcome that we want to achieve.
As Ukraine's rescue teams clear up the damage from Russian strikes, their president is counting down to crunch talks in Washington, with the future of their country at stake. Harry Horton, ITV News.
The Prime Minister is expected to land in the United States in the next hour and a half. He'll be flying into Joint Base Andrews for the one-day trip. Our US correspondent Dan Rivers is there for us this lunchtime. Dan, a very delicate, difficult meeting this for President Zelenskyy.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Keir Starmer will be arriving here, as you say, in about an hour and a half, which will sort of start off this sequence of meetings and photo opportunities. The high point of which, I suppose, will be Donald Trump and President Zelenskyy getting together at about 1 p.m. Local time to have this summit. Obviously, everyone will be very mindful of the last time they met in the White House, which went catastrophically in February when Donald Trump repeatedly berated President Zelenskyy for not having any cards to play. Lots of European leaders coming in, as well as the head of NATO as well, all in an effort really to present a sort of united European and UK front on this. We understand from diplomatic sources here that, you know, really the crux of this really are a couple of things. The framework for how any security guarantees would be given to Ukraine, not within a kind of NATO context, because Donald Trump has made that very clear again, posting on social media, no NATO membership for Ukraine. So that is one issue that needs to be sorted out. And then, of course, the territorial issues. They're hoping that President Zelenskyy is able to engage meaningfully on this. They feel that this might be the beginning of the end of the war. But one of the key things will be precisely which bits of territory are to be surrendered to Russia. President Putin has sort of set a diplomatic trap, really, asking for all of the Donbass region. Well, there is a large amount of that, or about a third of one of the provinces that Ukraine still controls. So that is likely to be a big sticking point for President Zelenskyy today.